Let's check out some of the new drive models in firmware 27.03 beta for the Axe FX 3. Before we dive into them, I'm playing a Chillia Bell'Aurora straight into the Axe FX 3. I've got the ODS 100 clean amp model dialed up with one of my free cab IRs, and I'm using the Mechanics Hall reverb. This is a pretty sweet clean sound, especially on the tapped neck pickup. Let's start out with the Big Muff and its variants on here. The standard Pi Fuzz has been overhauled. There's also a ram's head, a triangle, and a Russian-style Big Muff modeled in here. They've all got their own character, and you will notice that there are two new switches on there. There's a tone switch and a wicker switch. The tone switch is going to enable or defeat the tone stack, and then the wicker switch is based on some popular modifications. Let's just start with all the controls at noon, the stock settings, and we'll go through each of the different Big Muff models. We'll start with the standard Pi Fuzz. This is based on a current production Big Muff. Like the smooth default character of the Russian in there, and I like the aggressive splat you get out of the ram's head. Both of those, in my opinion, are great starting points, but I think all of these Big Muff models do the Big Muff thing. For me, my kind of personal favorite settings would be to have the tone and the wicker switch on, crank the sustain up on all of these. And if you were going for, like, say, a doom metal style tone, turn the tone control down, you get this. Something more spitty and aggressive on there, crank the tone up. You can play around with having the sustain high or low. Having it low with a level boost on there is pretty cool though. Now, my personal favorite way to use a pedal like a Big Muff is to run it into an amp that's already cooking. So this is my main live preset. I'm using the FAS Stealth Blue amp model. I'm going to kick in the Russian Pi Fuzz on top of it with the wicker switch and tone switch on, everything else at noon. This is just the most nasty, disgusting, gargantuan style fuzz tone out there. And on its own, Probably not the most appropriate thing for every single part you ever play, but throwing this in and layering it when you're recording can be great, or using it just for a single riff when you want to absolutely destroy the audience can be pretty awesome. That is absolute gutter filth on there, and I love it so much. Another great fuzz model that is new on here that's great into an already dirty amp is the Super Fuzz. Again, I'll let you hear it bypassed and then kicked in. It's just layering absolute filth upon filth. We'll also hear it into something a lot cleaner. Then we'll have a listen to the Color Tone Booster and Overdrive, and then the Ibanez Mostortion model, which a lot of people have been asking about. This is such an impressive lineup of drives. They all sound great, they all feel great, and they've each got their own unique character going on. Like I demonstrated earlier, for me, the big Muff models are built to destroy. I love them into clean amps for that classic 70s tone, but my personal preference is running them into crunchy amps or high gain amps for that absolute wall of doom kind of sound. The color tone boost and overdrive on there, I wish I had a Strat with me at the moment because I feel like that would be such a good match on there with a clean amp. That's going to do the Gilmore thing really, really well. If you wanted to dive into the Gilmore thing deeply as well, you've got those tone and wicker switches on the big Muff models. You could combine it with the tube driver. You could combine it with those color tone models on there as well, and maybe find some sounds that you really enjoy that are all your own as well. The Super Fuzz is super nasty. It's got a very different character to the existing octave distortion in there. You could hear when I played up high with the tone control You could hear when I played up high with the tone control all the way down, you're getting that high octave up overtone on there, but the overall character of the Fuzz is very different. It's kind of thick and nasty, and I can see why that is such a fun pedal in the real world. I really should get a Super Fuzz clone or derivative to add to my analog collection on there. And then the Mostortion on there kind of sounds the way I expected a Nobel's ODR1 to sound on there. The ODR1 is often called the Nashville drive on there. To me, a lot of the modern Nashville stuff that I hear anyway has the kind of character that that Mostortion model has on there, where it's got this really nice clarity about it, but there's still plenty of sustain and it feels good under the fingers. It kind of feels a bit like a cheat code on there. It is very amp-like on there, and people have been asking for that one for a long time. And in the last year or two on the Fractal as well, there's been a Klon model, the Nobles, the Mostortion, all the Fuzzes, the Color Sound pedals on there, the big Muff variants. There's a bunch of Tube Screamer variants in there. So many popular drives in the real world. It's hard to think of drives that maybe aren't represented in there. Maybe the Blues driver, that would be an amazing one to get in there, and a way huge Swollen Pickle as well, because that's a big Muff with a couple of differences in there. It would be really cool to hear that. The Pickle is one of my all-time favorite pedals. So if anyone at Fractal is listening to this one, the Swollen Pickle would be awesome to have in there at some point, but I'm sure I could get some pretty amazing results with the existing Fuzzes. Let me know your thoughts on this firmware in the comments section below. What's your favorite big Muff style Fuzz? What drives would you like to see added in there? And what tunes have you been jamming out with this firmware? If you like what I'm doing here on the channel and you want to support me directly, links in the video description. You can also check out some of the music that I make with my band Ragdoll. I'll actually play you all out with a riff that I haven't played yet. I've got to turn on some delay and one of those new drives. Let's go.